Good morning and welcome to awakeradio.co.uk. This is Chrissy McMahon on Alchemical Connections, and we do have a special guest today. His name is Daniel Brooks, I believe, and he's not around, so I'm not sure what's happening there. But we will keep you posted as to what that was. And the last song we played, that was Karen Di Basio, and she will be our guest next week, and that was her song in a moment. And she has a couple albums which are non-commercial, and her music is really awesome. I think I love every single song that she plays, and we had a little chat last night. And she is just a wonderful person. She thinks I'm amazing too because I'm on the radio promoting all this stuff. But I told her, I said, we have to just get this message out. It's so important. And that's basically, I think it was just this morning after listening to Granada Steve. He had a couple pods up. And, what I wrote as to why I wanted to do this particular interview was that we're going to discuss distilled liquids and evidence that fear-based scarcity beliefs of food and water are really unfounded. They're irrational and emotionally, poison, toxic. So, how can we overcome these belief systems and thoughts about certain things? It's just really, it's really challenging. So, thanks, Steve. And thank you, everybody, for being in the chat room. I'm sorry I'm not technically savvy to be chatting and talking at the same time. I don't know if that's part of my cultural heritage or just something I never picked up. But actually, I'm opposed to chatting, but it seems like that's what we're all doing. And anyway, back to distilled liquids. I recently had a month-long visit with my mother, and the joy of having your parent with you is you get to do a lot of wonderful things. And one of the wonderful things we did was go out to eat almost every night, either to a restaurant or to a family's house, and ate amazing cooked foods that were, something I haven't had for quite some time. And between that and my job, I've really gotten into some bad eating habits. So I'm really considering doing something different. And one of the things that I do on a regular basis is I do drink distilled water. I have been drinking it since 2010. And I recommend it. I've even bought distillers for everyone in my family. Unfortunately, after all this time, most of them are not using them anymore. I think the only one that uses it is my younger sister in North Carolina and my mother. She makes all her water and now cooks with it. So I'm really impressed with her, but she's still experiencing problems with arthritis and stuff. But I keep telling her about the cooked foods, and she just doesn't get it. But, that's her prerogative. She's 80 years old, and, I want her to be healthy and happy, but, maybe she'll just be happy and slightly uncomfortable, but if she can live with that, I can too. And back to distilled liquids. My path has been going around kind of promoting this. I even started a distillery e-journal, which I actually had 3 volumes all set up. And when the second volume was ready to be published, I consequently came across some horrible computer problems. I was hacked on my Yahoo account and then found out that my computer hard drive was fried. So it turned out that it was cheaper to buy a new hard drive and a couple other things than to buy a new computer. And you really can't get Windows 7 to run the encoder that I'm using to be on the air right now. So I'm very fortunate to have had this repaired and to be able to do the show as simply as I can. And I want to say thank you to everybody at Awake and We Roar which I will be simulcasting at 9 o'clock. I'm set up for 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. That would be 2 to 4 GMT. And we started an hour early because I volunteered to do something in the mundane world, away from my true love here is Awake Radio. And it's really been a blessing in disguise and given me an opportunity to do what I actually feel is my life path right now, and just to help share this information and really help keep this radio supported, because there's a lot of wonderful people. We have a lot of new hosts, and I guess you can tell I kind of meander. That's kind of the path that I take all the time. I get distracted easily, but I want to make sure that I always say thank you to the wonderful people at Awake, mostly to Granada Steve and to Paula, and I thought I saw Dave out there in the chat room, but I had put up Karen's website, so I can't see who's in the chat. But to Corky, who's like been there all night, and a couple of nons. I don't think one of the extra ones me, because I only have the one website open. And I guess I'll get back to my conversation about distilled liquids. So I started about 2010 when I met Andrew Norton Weber in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. And the story goes that I really was kind of appalled at what they were saying, and but I was willing to listen, and I'm very fortunate that I did, because I got to hear a lot of wonderful information. And I even got to meet, at that time, it was the New York, Miss New York of 2010, and her name escapes me right now, but I think it's probably in the best that we keep her anonymous. I mean, she should be famous enough just by that information. And she explained in no uncertain terms how she would love to raise her child with her boyfriend on distilled liquids and urine therapy, and how urine therapy was the model secret. It keeps their skin young, and most models that you see, are using this urine therapy. And then as I listened to Andrew, and when I left Vilcabamba, I was totally convinced that there was nothing that I had to fear. There was nothing that could possibly happen in this world that I couldn't be anywhere in my own person and be safe and secure. So I knew I carried my own nutrition, my own water supply, and I was ready to go wherever, my next path led me. And that's kind of where I'm at. But as I said in the beginning, my job and consequent excursions with family and friends and eating out and all this stuff, the rush hush of work, you tend to be lazy and not take the time, to make a juice smoothie with my Green Star takes like 20 minutes, and I'm saying that moderately, to set up with the food and then to clean up and to get a drink that would last me maybe 2 minutes, because it definitely will wolf it down. But it seems like it's more effort than it's worth. And I went out and I bought something called the Bullet, but it's too small. It just doesn't have the capacity to do so. My next venture will be a Vitamix. I think that would probably be the best way to spend my money in trying to do this. But I'm trying to start a fast, a liquid fast, and I haven't started yet today. I've been up. Last night I had a horrific headache, lasted till about 5:30 this morning, and consequently took medication. So I'm not going to do that today. And trust me, I tried to drink as much water as I could last night, thinking I was dehydrated. And this morning, I think I drank a gallon between the time I went to bed was after 10 and I was up at 5:30. And I drank about over a gallon of water. And maybe that helped. I know I felt more hydrated, but the headache is definitely gone, and I'm going to give myself a couple days to flush out just on liquids. And so my excuse for drinking a cup of coffee this morning is because I can't do anything else. But I will just stay on the distilled liquids. I may go shopping. One of the things I do to try to keep myself from eating cooked foods or anything that's really not going to benefit me is to not go food shopping and keep my cupboards and my refrigerator empty. But I love fruits, and I ate a lot of grapefruits over the winter. And now it's not grapefruit season anymore, but there's fresh peaches and plums will be out and all that kind of stuff. And I love blueberries, so there's lots of things that I can munch on if I get hungry, and those sort of things I guess I can put in that little bullet and kind of grind up and make myself a smoothie. But I'm really going to try. I'm out of work since May 19th, and I had all this time to really do something different, but the energy just wasn't right. I wasn't thinking, and part of the reason why I'm out of work is because I had an accident, and basically my fault. And I hit my head. I was hit by another person. I went through a red light in the middle of the night, and the person hit me. And I have a concussion, or had a concussion, and suffering from something they call post-concussion disorder. And I have a little bit of difficulty concentrating. So I haven't been back to work, and I haven't been able to do my studies. I'm also in a PhD program for health psychology, and my rationale was that I would rewrite the books, and that's always been my path here, is to rewrite the science books, to bring it into the right information and really change the paradigm. And as a result of that energy, just that positive energy, I've been thinking, we have Rupert Sheldrake, who wrote Science Set Free. We have the biologist Bruce Lipton, who's done amazing work in microbiology. And there's so many other people who are just presenting, academic scholarship that's just cannot be disputed. And recently, I guess a lot of people are aware that there was the TED Talks of both Rupert and Graham Hancock were taken down and then consequently put back up. And in the interim, right after that, I have a friend, Suzanne Taylor, who does the concentrate, the crop circle. She did a crop circle movie, and the name of it escapes me right now. But her name's Suzanne Taylor. I've interviewed her, and she and I have a friendship, a relationship, and she got a TEDx contract out in California, and hers was subsequently withdrawn because of the people that she was going to have. And actually, the people she was going to have on her TED Talk were academics. But the science they were presenting, I think it had to do with the MI12, the mind control, not the mind control, but viewing, what is called remote viewing. They were talking about that, and one of the academics that were in the program, and there was some other really wonderful people. There was like eight different people, and her talks were done in a different venue under the TEDx presentation, and they are available online, probably under that moniker, the TEDx program. And back to distilled liquids. I really wanted to talk to Daniel because he too is in this group on Facebook that strictly deals with people who are trying to live a distilled liquid and urine therapy lifestyle. And I have tried on several occasions to start a loop I was successful for like, I'd say 36 hours a few months ago. And I really think it helped in a lot of ways, but for whatever reason, I stopped. And I wish I had kept it up. So I'm trying to do something different and continue with the distilled liquids, and hopefully get on the urine therapy as soon as possible, maybe within a couple days. And I'm interested in finding anybody who would be interested in, documenting this, because I think I need a partner. I really think that this is something it would be difficult for me to do by myself. I'm just not that focused, and I'm just not that disciplined, and I really love company. I've been doing things alone by myself for a long time, and I think I'm finally getting to the point where, I really would love to have more people, and we're very fortunate to have that group on Facebook. It's a members-only group, and all you have to do is request admission, and you're in, no problem. So, I haven't really done anything, so there's not a whole lot I can talk about, and I don't know a lot about Daniel because he's actually never been interviewed before, but he is in Tuscany, Italy, and he had posted that he was doing something for a conference out there, and I'm not sure. I tried to find some kind of post for a conference out in Tuscany, but maybe it's already passed. Maybe it was something that's no longer. And he was going to sleep when I talked to him last night, and I told him exactly when to be here, so he might be involved doing something fun. He seems to have a really exciting, fun life where he is in Tuscany, and listening to what he has, reading what he has to post is very enjoyable, and kind of, gives you that sense of wonder, because people are really living their bliss and doing fun things. So in my attempt to do that, I am trying to get back into a process that I know is just phenomenal. Distilled liquids. One of the most important things that anybody should know is that we grow. We start our lives, our first 3 months in our mother's urine, and the last 6 months in our own. And there's nothing that is developed in our bodies, our skin, our lungs, our organs, our bones, everything. Nothing develops without that. And this isn't I want to say 5,000-year practice, but I think that we all realize that history is not necessarily as concise as we would like it to be. So it might be even older. I mean, it's an ancient practice. It was done by the Egyptians, the Hindus. Okay, and I did kind of give him the coordinates for GMT, so he could have corrected it for GMT, but that's okay, because that'll be right on time to go on awake. And we're going to cut this short too, I did say, because I am going to be heading out to go help people in another capacity. So we're born in our own urine, and somehow we come into this world, and everything we learn is against our health, is against life, and against nature. And somehow we grow up and think that that's normal. And basically because nobody knows any difference. And it's getting to, like, with the generations, we're losing the older generations, and it's really our responsibility to help teach the young generations. And one of the things I realized when I was going on this path back in, we'll say, 2003, 2005, I knew there was something wrong. I knew something needed to be changed, and I kind of fell into this path of the political segment, and quickly moved from there because of all the fear mongering, which is really what I wanted to try to move away from. into the self-responsibility paradigm. And I'm so happy that I got to learn about that. And we have so many wonderful teachers. We have teachers here on Awake, and that really try to promote consciousness. And even though, that we are kept abreast of all the ongoings on a daily basis of what's happening around the world, we're real fortunate. Awake is an international radio station, and we have access to from Australia to the UK to Ireland to the United States and North American continent and Canada and down South America. We just have a plethora of people that are bringing in awesome information. So with that said, I think, knowing that I'm safe in my person no matter where I go, when I hear a lot of things about Agenda 21, which I think is real, I have no doubt that this is something that's been in the working for maybe hundreds of years rather than decades. I also feel that what we focus on, we magnify. So as they throw out these wonderful little tidbits of nastiness, we get all scared and we get all focused. And I believe, and I really think it's starting to manifest that this is really the truth. The more we focus on it, the more we do their job, the more we help move along their agenda. So as I talk to people about this, I try to remind myself. I say it more as a reminder to myself, even though I am trying to share with other people, that we need to focus on what it is. What's our long-term goal? Like, some people could consider it as, by the time I die, will I have wanted to have achieved? And I like to talk about breatharianism too, and about living forever, whether it's in the physical or the spiritual. But I think that's the goal, is that we should really consider, what is it within myself that I'm really here to accomplish? What do I really want to do? What are my goals? What's my bliss? Where do I feel my life progressing? And how is it going to end up? How am I going to be remembered? What are people going to think about the things that I have done and the things I've accomplished, and how has it affected other people, which I think is the most important thing. And get that goal in mind and keep that focus. And as hard as that is, that's really what I want to do. And I see that as the goal right now. And whether that be through meditation, through distilled liquids, through creating more community, possibly even starting some conferences in the local area, because I think it's really devoid here of anything of that. And, we're here for a reason. I haven't done anything like that, and I have enough information to stand in front of a group of people and discuss this if they're willing to show up. So I just have to get a little bit more organized, because I do meander, and try to just bring this information to a wider audience, which I believe are just so much more open to it. I walk around, I drive around, I go to different places. I'm involved with a lot of different people from different walks of life. And it's just amazing how, people know there's something wrong. People can see that there's corruption. When I hear people that I don't know as being, conscious in the sense that they're into alternative media or doing things like that, and they say it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats too. It's just like amazing that, that people are really seeing this, that there is no difference between the political systems, that the corporations are corrupt. My future son-in-law posted this really long message about the evils of Walmart, what they do to their employees, what they do to the community. 2 years ago, they asked me why I don't shop at Walmart, and I tried to explain it to them, and they couldn't comprehend what I was saying, and I just happened to catch in the feed that he had posted this thing from a friend, and I don't know who it was. I didn't ask him. Haven't talked to him about it yet. But it was just amazing to know. And actually, I should say this because I forget about this sometimes. My future son-in-law is really cool. He's a death metalhead. He's going to marry my daughter on December 13th, which is Friday, and they're so excited. They're so psyched. I'm just trying to send positive energy to them because I love them so much, and I really believe 13 is a lucky number. He had the book, Behold a Pale Horse, and I kind of confiscated it off his bookshelf, and he actually gave it to me. Because he had it, and I don't remember why he had it. I don't even remember where he got it from. But I said, you should really read this book. This is so cool. I mean, I can get it off the internet, but he says, no, you can have it. I don't even know where he got it. I got to talk to him and find out where he got it. And that was like when I first met him, when they bought their house, which was like 3.5, 4 years ago. And it was before my granddaughter was born, so maybe it was 2000. I think they bought it in 2007, so it was longer than that. I don't remember. I'm confused. But anyway, that's where I got the book from. But I knew about the book before I took it from him. And it's just amazing that people are getting this information. It might be through osmosis. It might be through the fact that we're all connected and the consciousness is raising, and, we're all permeating each other with these wonderful, loving thoughts. And, I still talk to them about urine therapy, but they think I'm gross whenever they have a problem, a health injury, like my granddaughter had styes in her eye, and I said, well, just use your urine. Or one of them had some kind of cuts or burns on their hands or arms. It's like, just use your urine. And they still think I'm gross. They think, I don't know what I'm talking about. But maybe eventually, I planted a seed, they'll be open to that. Also, I belong to this fellowship, and there was some people there. There was a guy who actually had a motorcycle accident, and he had I guess it's on white people they call it pizza, but he's the dark skin, so his skin just looked like all ripped up, and he was really in a lot of pain, and I couldn't hold it back. I got with him after our session, and I said, urine on that would heal it in a couple days. I'm almost positive. And I tried to explain to him that it was an ancient Chinese practice. It's something that they actually save urine for burns and stuff, like just exactly for that. I said, if you just soaked a cloth and left it on there, kept wetting it. He goes, well, how will I collect it? I said, put it in a cup, whatever. It's pretty simple. Just save. And I even told him the longer you save it, the better. Well, I haven't seen him since. I don't know if it actually worked, but that was like a week and a half ago. So maybe the fact that I haven't seen him, maybe he actually was home nursing his wounds, and he really messed up both legs. He actually, he dropped the bike and he fell because he didn't want to crash with the bike. He fell off the bike and slid under a van and burned his legs on the pipes of the van. So, and he thinks he hit, instead of hitting his head on the bumper, he hit his shoulder. I think he put his arm up and, tried to protect his head and slid under the van. So he's a really big guy. So when he said van, I don't know what it is, but it's just amazing that he even listened to me. So, I think things are changing a lot. I'm really impressed. And I kind of feel a little bit guilty too because I'm not actually doing it. So I kind of feel like, well, why is she talking about it? She's not even doing it. But I know this works, and I have no problem sharing this. I share this with people at work. They see me walking around with I put my distilled water in mason jars, and they all joke and say I'm drinking moonshine or corn liquor, and it kind of throws me off. But I don't know. I guess I'd rather be laughed at because I'm doing something to make my life better, make my health better, than to be laughed at for being, a jerk or something else. So all in all, I'm living a really rich life. Got a lot of people who love me. A lot of people are, open to what I'm saying and listening to me. So I've gone from, the evangelist, the real stern, staunch, I'm going to knock you with this information out, evangelist, to somebody who can kind of detect when somebody's open and share my truth with them. So, and it's mine. And actually, just an aside, my Blog Talk radio show is called Babcia's Pearls, and the story behind that is in Polish, a grandmother is called Babcia, or Baci, and my sister, she saw that I wrote that on my Facebook or something, and she said, Baci means love. And as soon as she said that, I knew I was right on the right path. And because I had read the Bible so much, I kind of held on to that story about don't throw your pearls before swine. Not that I think people are swine, but I think the metaphor is that you want to give information to people who actually want to listen to it. And I had to learn that distinction because I have always been an oddball in my family, an oddball in school, an oddball everywhere I went, because I just looked at things so different than most people. And I'm starting to learn that, there's a way to present this information. We can't beat it over people's heads. We can't demand that they listen, and we can't call them sheeple just because they're not aware of what we're aware of. They will get it in time if that's where they want to. And also to know that there is going to be a division. There's going to be the haves and the have-nots. There's going to be people who want to be responsible for themselves and want to do something different. And there's going to be people who are, pathologically incapable of doing that. And there's nothing we can do about those people. We just have to love them. And understanding that we have to love no matter what. Going from being a staunch Christian to being somebody who really comprehends, love everyone because I love myself. So it's a completely different path. It's just wonderful to even realize that I have this information. Not that I have all the information. I think I'm only scratching the surface here. But that I've been gifted with such knowledge, which, was just privy to certain people, or they kept it to themselves, whatever. Now we're able to share this freely with anyone who wants to listen. It just, reinforces that we do live in amazing times, no matter what we see going on in the news and the manufactured media, that we can just look at each other as our mirrors and know that that we are loved, and there's wonderful things happening. And more will be revealed. So my friend still isn't online, and call them muggles. Yeah, that's cool. How about if I put on something? I guess I'm starting to feel a little nervous because I'm really exposing myself. And I really love talking about this stuff. And that's how I got on the radio. That's really what I wanted to say. I got my own radio show on Blog Talk because nobody was listening to me, and that was the only way I could fathom that I could get this information out. And I did a lot of interviews with different types of people, a lot of authors, a lot of people who, like me, just wanted to share some information, and I've learned so many wonderful things, and I will have the opportunity to share with a lot more interesting people. Like I'll have Karen DeBiase. I'm so butchering her name. She'll correct me when she comes here next Thursday. And also I did talk with Alfred Labramont Weber, and he will not be available until September, but he wants to do 3 separate interviews on 3 different topics. I have it all in my email. And also I did one with Ben Stewart, who did Esoteric Agenda and Kymatica, and also on Grip, which is kind of like a trilogy, but it's more like a path, and it's just wonderful information that he put out. And I just love watching those videos over and over again. They're just amazing, and an easy way to share with people who might be interested what's going on in the world and how we can take responsibility for our lives and do something different. So, and I think Awake Radio just exemplifies just exactly what Ben Stewart had presented in those 3 different videos. We have the gambit of the spiritual, esoteric, occult even, which I guess I kind of lean to that side. And then we have the political, the liberty, and then in between we have wonderful music, wonderful guests, and we have Paula with her grassroots show, who just presents new upcoming artists, and everybody's just wonderful. And now we have our Pamela, who comes from Nigeria and can share with us a completely different culture that's, more closer to nature than the developed nations here. We're so removed from what is normal that we have these opportunities. And then we have our other wonderful people. A lot of people I haven't even gotten to meet yet that have come on board. So with that said, I have not been looking for something. I've been kind of pacing back and forth, trying to think of what next to say. Maybe we can find a little Alan Watts that might be a little longer. It will take us closer to our interview, which may or may not be calling. Okay, so here we have on insecure societies that look. Hello, welcome back to awakeradio.co.uk. This is Chrissy McMahon, and you're listening to Alchemical Connections. And we are fortunate today to have a really, really special guest. We have, allegedly known as Dave, is going to maybe talk to us a little bit about distilled liquids and Breatharianism, or, wherever it goes. Our guest still hasn't shown up, so let's say hello to Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi there. Hello, everybody. I've been away for a while, but good to be back.
Welcome back. Good to have you. There's my alarm. So you were listening to me ranting on a little bit. So what did you take away from my little conversation that got you to come on?
to be honest, I didn't catch most of it because I came in. I've just been editing one of my my last show, and then I realised that you'd been on for about half an hour, and I came on and heard you talking, and Daniel wasn't there, so I just wondered if I could help out, and so I didn't hear what you were saying a lot of the time, I'm afraid.
Just talking about distilled liquids and just trying to let the message be that there's a lot of fear in the world. There's a lot of things going on that cause people to question their security and their health, and my experience has been that understanding about distilled liquids has really made a difference in the way that I look at all these things that the distorted media presents, and knowing that no matter what, I will be safe wherever I go. I carry my own energy pack wherever I go.
I think that people are starting to realise all over the world that that the medical system has failed them. The medical system was, well, the medical system was never really about saving people. It was about making money. And people are starting to realise that, because I've noticed that when I first started talking to people about urine therapy, I'd get the same reaction, always the same reaction, that, ugh, oh, how disgusting, you know? And
Absolutely.
And that's as far as the conversation would ever go, because you couldn't get past that barrier. But I've noticed in this last year that I now get a totally different reaction, and it's always, oh, I've heard about that, or that sounds interesting, tell me more. You know, you still get some resistance, but nothing like like it was before. Something has definitely changed.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree.
So I do think that people are ready to look for alternatives, because you know it's becoming blatantly obvious now that the medical system isn't for us.
It's not for anybody. It's
it's
not about living.
It's for the corporations to make money. Story.
Oh yeah, make money. But I mean we could go there too. That's the construct of money. Just is so unhealthy in its own right.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's fairly obvious to me that we're coming to the end days, you know, of the system as it stands at the moment, and they're rushing to complete their work. And well, in my opinion, I guess in the opinion of people who are awake and aware to all this, that they're rushing headlong too fast into this, because it's so obvious to us, and it must be getting fairly obvious to the muggles out there. Yeah, as you say, the sheeple isn't right, because we're all sheeple at one point.
Absolutely.
So you know, the muggles is a kind of gentler way. I think it's you know, people doing their best, but they haven't got all the information, so they muggle through. That's the way I like to see it.
Well, we have a request. Somebody's asking about your 30-day fast, which I thought it was a 40-day fast.
No, it's a 30-day. It was just that okay. When the video crew came over to film that little slot, they made a mistake and they said it was a 40-day fast. Okay. But no, it's a 30-day fast. I actually started it because I wanted to. I'd been on urine therapy for a year at that point, and in the media, it was all about. They were all about talking of about food crises that was just over the next hill, you know. So they were spreading this fear of everyone's going to be short of food, and I wanted to prove that you know, somebody could live on just urine alone, and if I could do that, then nobody would have to fear about not having enough water or not having enough food, because you know, obviously you could provide your own. So so that's why I started it, and so when I started it, I kind of expected after about 3 or 4 days, I'd be, you know, on the floor crawling towards the fridge saying food. But what I found that it was only the first 2 or 3 days that it was the habit of eating, the habit of preparing food, the habit of your daily ritual of it's I've just woken up, so it's breakfast time, and it's 12 o'clock, I've got to get some lunch, you know. It's tea time. It's, you know, it's habit. That's all it is. And after a few days, that habit subsided, and I didn't find I was hungry anymore. So, you know, it progressed, and I got into. I reckon I got to about 18 days, and I wanted to do another experiment to see if this extra energy that this urine fast was providing me was real energy, because it's easy to feel like you've got a lot of energy, but when you put it to the test, there may not be anything there. So sort of day 18, I set myself a whole program of really strenuous manual labour for the entire day. I started at 6 o'clock in the morning, ended up when the sun went down, it was around about 8 o'clock at night. Literally just working all day, and at the end of it, I still had plenty of energy. So I proved to myself that I wasn't starving myself to death.
Right.
So I didn't experience much in the way of a healing crisis either. The only thing that I noticed that happened to me was that spots would come up on my skin in various different places. So one day I might have 4 spots on my left forearm, and the next day they'd disappear, and I'd have 4 on my neck, and maybe a couple on my chest, and they'd sort of just pop up and disappear every now and again. So obviously the toxins were coming out of my skin in various different places, but that only lasted for about a week or so, and that was it. So I had nothing really much in the way of a healing crisis.
Right.
So the interesting thing was the last 6 days of the fast, because of my freeman exploits, I ended up taking a spell in prison on remand, and so this was the very last 6 days of my fast, which I guess turned out okay, because there was no way I was going to actually eat prison food or drink the water in there. So
I had no idea that you ended up in jail. Maybe I didn't listen to the video, or you didn't put that in there.
Oh, well, I did a couple of the interviews I did. I mentioned it. It was there's a video on YouTube where I'd deregistered my car, and I filmed basically the first traffic stop since, well, it was actually the second traffic stop since I deregistered the car, and I filmed the whole thing, and as a consequence of that, it's a long story, but I ended up in front of a judge, and I wouldn't play with the judge, so I kept asking questions he didn't want to answer, and he basically put me on remand, basically threatened me to say that I put you on remand if we don't get this solved in 6 days, after you've been on remand for 6 days, then I'll put you on remand again for another 6 months, and we'll see how you feel then. So it's basically threatening me. So yeah, the last 6 days I was in a jail cell. Unfortunately, for the first, I guess it was the first 3 days, maybe the first 2 days, I can't remember now. I couldn't actually drink my urine because I was in a police cell, and there wasn't
You didn't have a cup.
And I had to go out of the cell and use the toilet out there. And if any of the coppers had seen me, drinking my own wee, I'd have probably been sectioned and
For exposure or something, yeah.
yeah, so I couldn't drink it for the last for 2 days of that, I think. So at the end of the fast, I was feeling a bit dehydrated, because I don't think I could catch up. It might be mental, a psychological problem there, but yeah, I did feel kind of dehydrated. So I did end the fast maybe a few hours early, because on the very last day, when I was feeling quite dehydrated, I I went down to where they were serving dinner, and I basically at the beginning of the line there was some oranges, and I asked the prison guard, I'm not going to eat any of this rest of this food. Could I have 2 oranges instead of 1, please? And he said no. So I grabbed an orange, and I walked out, and I was standing just outside, and the next 6 guys in the line, next 6 prisoners, basically all just said, "Oh, you can have my orange. You can have my orange. You can have my orange." I ended up with 7 oranges, which was unexpected. So I,
nice.
yeah, it was nice. Basically because most of the people in those places shouldn't be in there. None of them should be in there. But that's another story.
Yes.
But yeah, I ended the fast a few hours early on the last day. But since the fast, interestingly enough, I realised that I didn't need to eat so much. I found that I would go several days. I think the most was 8 days without eating. I just forgot to eat. I guess I was still in that mode, but I simply forgot to eat. And then I found that the level of eating that I'm at the moment, or should I step back, that I was at directly after the fast. If I was eating that little maybe 5 years ago, I'd probably end up in hospital, because I was eating very, very little. So that actually brought me into thinking about, or looking into this breatharianism. So I think that's my next experiment.
Yes. Well, before you get into that, our guest, Daniel Brooks, is still not online. He's not in Skype. And we have just simulcast with We Roar. So I would like to say thank you to April for setting me up last night. It's been a couple months coming, but we are simulcasting, and this is Chrissy McMahon with Alchemical Connections, and we were speaking with allegedly known as Dave from Awake Radio, and we're talking about distilled liquids, and hopefully we'll be going into breatharianism, because I think it's really interesting to know that we're coming from a society that is suffering from obesity because of the foods that we eat and the toxic foods that we eat, and then trying to wrap our heads around the fact that there's people who, for centuries that are documented, have never eaten. So hopefully Dave can share that with us. Dave, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's one of those strange things. Well, it's not so strange nowadays, but whenever you start putting your attention towards something, it seems like the world kind of opens up and starts presenting you this information, or giving you exactly what you need, just because you decided to start looking in that direction. So when I decided or found that I didn't need to eat as much as I thought I did, I started looking into this idea that there are people around who simply sit in the sun and breathe deeply and don't need to eat. And as soon as I started thinking that way, all sorts of things started happening. I came across a book that Andrew Norton Webber mentioned once. It's called Man's Higher Consciousness, and I saw that book. But when Andrew first mentioned it, I kind of just skipped over it. I didn't really give it much thought. But it kept popping up in front of me, and the third time it did, I thought, well, I better have a look at it then. And it was exactly what I needed to read right at that moment. And what it basically says is that we're all breatharians. we're all of us, we're all breatharians. We actually power ourselves and grow from cosmic rays, the rays from the sun and the rays from deep space, and essentially our bodies materialize all the minerals and things that it needs by taking in these cosmic rays and condensing it into the substances we need. And the only other thing we need is oxygen, and that's it. Food and water is basically just a habit that we've fallen into. And the process was that we started off all as breatharians who lived for hundreds of thousands of years, and were not affected by heat or cold. Were not completely physical as we know it today. And what happened was that we started a descent. We started drinking water, and as a result, our lifespan started to shorten. Not an awful lot, so I guess they didn't notice at the time. And there were health problems. Just slight ones that were never seen before. And then we started to eat fruit, which I guess is the Adam and Eve story. And again, our lifespan started to shrink, and we started getting more health problems. And then we discovered vegetables, and we started to become vegetarians, and then down into becoming carnivores. And at every stage, our lifespans shrunk, and our health problems increased. So what it seems to me, the obvious way of getting back to being a breatharian is to slowly move back up that ascension path, as it were. So go from carnivorism to vegetarianism, then to fruitarianism, which is where I happen to be at the moment, and then become a liquidarian, and then finally wean yourself back into becoming a breatharian. So so that's sorry.
I was just going to say I haven't read the book, but I kind of glanced through it the other night, and that was kind of the progression, what you had just said, from breatharian to carnivorism, and,
sure,
and how that actually depletes your health. Mm-hmm. So man eats to die, I think it's like the first chapter.
Yes, man eats to live, man eats to die. That was a chapter, and the book is absolutely amazing. It's the most amazing book I have ever read in my entire life. And as soon as I finished reading it, I turned around and I started reading it again. I think when I finish reading it, I'm going to do that all over again, because even reading it the second time, I'm picking up more. I'm picking up more every time I'm reading it. And literally, I read. It took me maybe 6 months to read this book, because every paragraph I read, I'd read the paragraph, I'd have to shut the book, go away for a few days and think about it, just that paragraph, because it was just so stunning, the information that's coming out with it. There are obvious questions when you say to somebody, well, actually, you don't need to eat. Eating's just a habit. There are some obvious questions that people will ask. I mean, go on, ask a question about that.
Absolutely.
What would to your mind?
About eating?
If I just told you, Chrissy, you don't have to eat. Eating's just a habit.
Well, you're singing to the choir here, because I figured that out a couple years ago, that we really don't eat. Our intestines is actually the prana circuit, and my guest has just woken up from a deep sleep, so just give me 1 second. But I read Yucca Suarez' Holy Science, and that's where I first learned about fruitarianism, which he kind of recommends that we only eat fruit, and he explains it because of the way our bodies are set up, that we're not made to eat meat, and the way they measured it. They measured animals and plants and all this other stuff from, where they consume to where they defecate, and by that measure, in that book, they said, well, that's why their animals are omnivores. Some are omnivores. Animals or mammals are carnivores, and why humans should be fruitarians. That they actually measured from our mouth to our the end of our intestines.
Right.
That they measured it wrong, and I don't have the quote right offhand, but and I had read that after I even believed that we were probably breatharians. And I met a person named Kai in Ecuador. We did this meditation, and that's where I got sunburnt, and that's where I learned the true benefits of urine therapy for burns. It's just amazing. A 24-hour sunburn, completely gone. And anyway, Kai has been a breatharian for probably 8 years now, maybe longer, and he's married and had a child, and his wife and his child are both breatharians. And when she went through her pregnancy, and Lilu, is that her name? The Juicy Life. She actually interviewed them, but she didn't really get into the juice of it. But his wife, Camilla, she went through her whole pregnancy, and she went to the doctors and was tested, and she was actually healthier than the women who were taking the supplements. Yeah. So everything she did in her pregnancy or didn't do, like didn't follow the medical practices for gestation and pregnancy, that she did follow her breatharian practice with her husband, and her health was completely, above what the women who were eating and taking vitamins and mineral supplements and, all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I just believe that. I just innately believe that we don't have to eat. But like you said, because I'm still in it, and it's only been, this is my second day. And last night, to tell the truth, I ate a handful of chips and a small cup of broccoli and cheese soup, because I thought if I ate something that would get rid of the headache, which it didn't. And there was probably MSG in there, and it just facilitated the headache worse. But
you gotta remember that whenever you do any kind of cleanse, okay, you're going to get symptoms. You're going to get a healing crisis of some kind, and your headache is probably a healing crisis.
I hope so, because I've been having them since the accident, and I normally don't. And I know I can drink water. I can drink my distilled water, and usually within a half an hour, I'm okay. I don't have to take anything to get rid of the headaches. But these headaches are not, they're lasting for days. And I tried. I ended up in the hospital because I thought maybe there was something seriously wrong, because I had hit my head. And they told me, no, just a migraine, blah, blah, blah. Gave me acetaminophen, and that's Tylenol, which is poison, and ibuprofen. And sent me home. So that's basically all that I had to get rid of it, and it did work. It did get rid of it. So I'm not happy, but I took it. It was just horrible. I wouldn't have been able to do the show today had I had this headache. It just was awful.
Well, this is the point, though. It didn't fix it. It's not fixed. It just
covered it.
It's masked it, and whatever's there is still there. And now that you're not focusing on it, you're letting it go and do its stuff. This is what we've been made afraid of symptoms. We're not, when we get symptoms, it's a sign that the body is dealing with something, and it's a sign for you to to help the body deal with it. So if you feel a headache, lie down, let your body deal with it. This is the thing. We've been made to be scared of these symptoms, so we got to get rid of them. Got to get rid of them. It's there to be like the warning light in your car. Take action. It's not about trying to hide it. It's about being aware of it and letting your body focus its energy on it.
Yeah, and I wonder if I had started the UT urine fast last night when it started, that if that would have helped too, because I hadn't drank a lot of water because I was running around all day with doctors, and I went somewhere else later in the evening, and I just I thought I was dehydrated. I really did. So from the time I laid down at 10 o'clock last night until I got up at 5:30 this morning, I drank about a gallon of water, and I still had the headache. And
well,
I'm not sure. I don't disagree with you, but for whatever reason, I took that path, and maybe that's my process, is that I'll keep doing things till I get sick and tired of it, and then I'll move on to the. It's even with food. It's like, I don't like the taste of a lot of foods, and I don't like it, but you go 3 or 4 or 5 days and you keep eating this stuff, then all of a sudden you acquire this phenomenal craving for things that are like just disgusting, like gnocchis and cream and walnut sauce or whatever,
well,
which are just gross. It's just a gross thing to eat, but like for whatever reason it seemed at the time to be wonderful.
There are a lot of factors. That have an effect, because a lot of us have parasites in us, and
Yes.
and one of the things they do is make you crave certain foods to feed them.
Absolutely.
They secrete chemicals that make us feel like, oh, I fatty sugar. I need to get some sugar in me. But what you're doing is really feeding them.
Yes.
So you're going to have to really kind of try and overcome these habits. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in somebody's office, so I've not got control over the phone here. So I can't turn it off. And I don't think anyone's going to pick it up in the other room. So I hope you don't mind. A second. Okay. Can you still hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you still hear me? Hello?
Dave, I hope I'm not interrupting you, but I kind of lost the sound. I'm not even sure what I did. I guess I should tell you that my friend Daniel has woken up, and I was going to type to him, and I picked up the wrong keyboard, and I did something. I'm not sure what I did.
Can you hear me now?
But I cannot hear you.
Okay.
And, I guess I could turn up the volume. Okay, I don't hear anything on the wake encoder, so maybe I'll put in a tune and see how that goes. Hello, everyone. This is awakeradio.co.uk, simulcasting on weroar.ws. My name is Chrissy McMahon, and you're listening to Alchemical Connections. We are speaking with allegedly known as Dave, and we also have Daniel Brooks from the distillery, and he finally made it, and I'm going to have Daniel maybe introduce himself, say a little bit about his relationship to distilled liquids, and then we can get started. We have about half an hour left. Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, well, hi everybody. I'm super, super sorry if I let anybody down. I was in the middle of a deep slumber, which is quite unusual for me. I obviously needed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really sorry. I came by this whole distilled liquid thing via a very good friend of mine lives in Brighton in England, and she attended a meeting, a conference with Andrew Norton Webber there last year, and she let me know all about it. Gave me a video on YouTube, an interview with Andrew Norton Webber and Lisa Harrison for me to watch. At the time, I only watched the first half hour, so I got around to putting pee in your mouth to save yourself from snake bites. I thought it was amazing, but then I never got around to watching the rest until several months later when another friend of mine told me about it, and I thought, oh, I should go back to this video and watch it. And so I did. Me and my wife watched it together, and before the video was finished, both my wife and I had gone to the toilet to try our own urine for the first time. It just completely resonated with both of us. And we've been drinking our own urine and distilled waters and fruit juices and trying to improve our diets and our health ever since.
That's amazing. It's wonderful to hear that. That's basically why I wanted to share with you. Trying to get back into doing a urine therapy loop, and kind of having a little bit of difficulty fighting this. I had this food frenzy for the last month, and I have to soak it off of even thinking about food, that it's going to take me, but I need to just plunge in. I can't try to baby it. I need to just do it. So having your support and having you discuss, you can talk about the benefits that you've received from it, and maybe some of the side effects that you've experienced. Maybe we can get Dave in here too to kind of just to co-sign our little conversation, because he's had a lot of experience doing a 30-day fast with urine therapy, so he's kind of the guru, the go-to person. He and Andrew, who I met in Vilcabamba in 2010, just amazing people who, are actually living this life on a regular basis, and I kind of more or less dabble in it. So maybe you can just talk, Daniel, a little bit about your benefits and how it's improved your life.
You guys have been to Vilcabamba too. This name, Vilcabamba, just keeps popping up for me. I need to go on holiday there at some point, I think.
Absolutely.
Same here, actually. The friend of mine who came into the talk that I went to when we first heard about urine therapy, he's got a place in Vilcabamba, and keeps inviting me to go there.
Yeah, something awaits us there, I think.
I think so.
It's beautiful. I think you'll love it. It's the people are lovely. They're all like-minded. There's a really wonderful community of beautiful people, and we had a conference there for 2 weeks in October of 2010. It was just an amazing experience. And I have a friend there, Galen Mertzik, who lives there with Peter Kaiser, who's they call him the grass messiah, the wheatgrass messiah, and he's known all around the world too. It's like a nomad, but they live there. They live in that hotel where we stayed, and it's just amazing a place. And one of the proponents of alternative energy used to live there, but he recently passed away, and I'm having a hard time thinking of his name. But he was a wonderful person, and maybe I'll look that up. But off the top of my head, I just can't remember. But there's beautiful people there. You will love it.
Yeah, I've been feeling for a very long time now that a serious call to go to that neck of the woods, Ecuador, Peru. I really feel strongly something's waiting for me in my life there.
Then you should do it. Yeah. Absolutely. I kind of went there because I was afraid, and they said, the closer to the equator you are, the safer you'll be. And but as a result, in finding out about urine therapy and distilled liquids, I was able to walk away from there feeling free, feeling safe. So I didn't think that my path stayed there. It just was just a journey on the path, but it was a beautiful place, and I thought maybe I would go back there. So it's really quite beautiful.
I think distilled liquids has definitely helped me with my fear as well. I went down quite a rabbit hole, as many people are doing at the moment, realizing the terrible things that are going on this planet, realizing the crazy amount of things that we've been led to believe that just simply aren't true. And it's kind of terrifying. And I think distilled liquids has really helped me get over that and realize that everything's not all bad. It's given me some courage. It's made me feel better. It's given me some strength and put me back on track, if you like, given me some direction.
Absolutely. Have you noticed any side effects? Have you noticed anything since you started using distilled liquids or urine therapy that may have been, not harmful but uncomfortable, like detoxing effects?
In my first month, I had a lot of diarrhea, which I have no problem with. I've traveled a lot around the world. I'm used to diarrhea, and I was well aware that this thing was a detox. The diarrhea was a detox. The diarrhea was incredibly smelly, like some petroleum was coming out of me. And so I was happy about that. Other than that, my detox has been very, very good, very smooth. I've had a pretty healthy life, although I've eaten a lot of crap. My detox was pretty easy, really. All I've noticed is benefits, really. It's been a bit of a rocky ride. It's been a roller coaster for sure, especially emotionally, because I've been going through a lot of stuff as well emotionally, but it's all been good.
Wonderful. And your wife and your child, is your child involved in urine therapy, or is that just something that maybe you will teach your child as is it a boy or girl?
We've got two kids. We've got little Oliver, who's 5, little boy, and we've got a little girl who is 1.5, Hazel. When we started drinking our own urine, it's funny because Oliver told us when we first started, "Oh, I already do that." He says, "Yeah, sometimes I try my urine, my pee-pee when I go to the toilet."
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, we already knew that he was a pretty special child, but that just put another that just confirmed it a little bit more. Hazel, she sees us doing it, and I'm sure she's curious. I think for sure when she gets a little bit older, she's going to be straight into it too.
Yeah, well, that was one of the complications with the woman who from New York, who was the Miss New York beauty queen, that she was concerned that when her son went to school, that he would be sharing that information with the teachers or other people, and that they would have a problem with the authorities because, I mean, that was like a legitimate problem for them. So I'm not sure in Italy, if there's any laws prohibiting or, if that would be a problem when they got to school, where they got out in the public and maybe tried to do that in front of their peers or, mentioned it in front of people who might not understand. Is that a concern for you? Or?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern for me, especially I have no intention of sending my children to any normal school at all. In fact, we're in the process of trying to create a new community, a new village, where we have every intention of creating our own education center. I don't even like to call it school. Fish school. They all swim together the same way. They all turn the same time and all the rest of it. I don't like the word school at all. We were just talking about that this morning, how I know very few success stories of friends of mine that came from school. You know, most of the success stories I know from friends of mine, they came from things after they left school, or from people that didn't even go to school past the age of 16. So anyway, yeah, I have a little bit of a thing about school. But we have a housemate here, and her son goes to school here. And I've been a little bit concerned about him talking about drinking pee-pee and people that live in his house drinking pee-pee and him getting problems from it. I can understand that, of course. But as far as our own children go, I'm not at all worried about that, and I'm certainly not concerned about any laws, because I don't tend to take much heed to the crazy legal system anymore after realizing the complete insanity of it all.
Absolutely. So there's lots for us to learn. I think it's interesting that now this the liberty movement, I'm not sure exactly what you call it, but I think more and more of us are becoming aware of the doublespeak of the legal system and how we can counter that, and also how we can use our knowledge of distilled liquids and urine therapy to actually enhance our own enlightenment in understanding the process. The more we feed into the mainstream processes of food and health and law and politics and all that stuff, social systems, the more toxic we become. And when we shed all that and let it go, the freer we are and the healthier we are, and the more we understand. And I think the more connected and the more I think we can benefit other people. And I really believe in that. Our consciousness is just branching out all over. We're not operating in a vacuum here. We're really all connected. So every little thing that we do to take responsibility for ourselves and our health not only benefits us, but benefits everyone, and the whole universe all the way out. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So not to put you on the spot or anything, but is there anything in particular that you'd like to share about distilled liquids or urine therapy besides what you've already shared with us?
No, not really. I think I'm just happy to go along with the conversation here. I think, yeah, what you say about the whole urine therapy, drinking distilled liquids, I think it can't be over exaggerated, the importance of it. For me, I've been working on this and putting a lot of my energy into getting the word out there and trying to help people for 6 months now, because I feel that it's going to be a serious part of saving this planet. It's, I just don't think it can be over exaggerated. For a long time now, for many years now, I've been wondering, first of all, I was wondering, why when you're in the city, are people walking around like zombies? And coming across this distilled water information just completely explains it for me. I mean, there's many reasons why people are walking around like zombies. But the fact that they're all clogged up, they're completely calcified, their insides of their bodies are not operating as they're supposed to be, just makes perfect sense to me that this is why they're walking around like zombies. And the people that I know of that have been practicing this distilled liquids thing and cleaning their body of all the rubbish, just as it would clean an iron or a kettle or a car battery, these people that I know that have been practicing it are the most beautiful people I know on the planet right now. And the more we can get it out there, the more people we're going to help, and the faster we're going to bring this planet out of the deep depression that it's in.
I think I was going to add to that. I think it's incredibly important what we're doing, because when we are able to get this information out to more and more people, people are going to start turning away from the pharmaceuticals, and it's going to be a kind of exponential growth in that area. If more and more people find out that they can cure themselves without paying out money, and that they carry their medicine with them, You know,
Bravo, Dave.
people are going to start turning away, and we don't have to riot, we don't have to do anything really. We just say, no, we don't want to use your poisons anymore. We've got our own medicine here. Thanks very much.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to take these pharmaceutical corporations down. When people just turn away from them.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.
So I see this as very important, and I don't care anymore. I used to care about telling people, "Oh, I drink my own piss." I used to care about and worry about it, but I don't care anymore. I don't care if people know, and in fact, I don't care if they laugh at me. The point is that even if they're laughing at me, they know when it comes to a life and death situation, they'll know in the back of their head that actually, I know I don't have any water or food. I can actually live on my weed.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't care if they laugh.
And what we were talking about before you came on, Daniel, is breatharianism, and I'm not sure what you understand about that. But Dave and I kind of agree, and there's a lot of documentation that proves that we don't even need to eat or drink. It's not something that's necessary for life. And Andrew talks about it in his speech that actually the skin is the giant organ that absorbs moisture, like right through your skin. So we can get enough of the nutrients and stuff, and Dave enlightened us to the photons that come from space and whatever actually create the nutrients and the minerals and all the stuff that our body may need to survive and to be healthy and prosper. So there's lots for us to learn and lots for us to discuss and talk about. And just before, go ahead.
For sure, we need several hours, I think. There's
well, we can do this again. Yeah, absolutely.
The whole breatharian thing, I have no experience of at all, but the whole thing completely resonates with me totally. I've had tiny conversations with people that have practiced it, and I don't think they're lying. I think it's doable for sure. I'm seriously struggling with cutting out crap food at the moment. Never mind going breatharianism. So I can't really comment on that, but it completely resonates with me. What I have been doing, me and my wife have been practicing sun gazing on and off for a couple of years now. And yeah, that sun gazing, I don't know the complete science behind it, but it's to do with getting photons and stuff like Dave says, and other amazing things directly from the sun. Staring at the sun for short periods of time, building up slowly so that you don't damage your eyes. Staring at the sun in the morning and in the evening as the sun is rising or setting, starting off at 10 seconds a day and then building up every day 10 seconds more. Never letting your eyes hurt. It's very important to research it to make sure you don't do yourself any harm. But me and my wife both love it. One of the main reasons we love it is it just gives you this connection to nature. It forces you to have this little calm time with this beautiful ball of fire that enables all life on Earth. We just find it a great thing. And whether we get any benefits from it physically or not is difficult to say. It's very subtle if we do, but we certainly keep doing it. So I think there's a reason for us keeping doing it.
Well, I'm going to be in a position to tell you about breatharianism because I've already started my sort of ascent to it, and I guess I started before the fast when I went vegetarian, but I'm now at the fruitarian stage, and I'm going to give it a little while, maybe another month. And I'll go on to the liquidarian stage, and then maybe 2 or 3 months on just liquids. I'll start weaning myself off the liquids, and I hope to be breatharian for a year, just to do it for a year, and then see what happens after that. If I manage a year, then I'll probably just not eat after that but I'll say a year just in case I get desperate to taste things.
Yeah. I have an unmeasurable amount of admiration for you, Dave. It's seriously impressive that you managed to do a 30-day fast?
Yeah.
30-day fast, and now you're heading the whole breatharian way. It's just incredible. For me, I'm really struggling stopping to eat bread and pasta and sugar and salt. It's like a serious addiction that I'm struggling far harder than giving up tobacco. Tobacco is easy compared to giving up these things for me.
Well, this is the thing, Dan. The food is the greatest drug, or the biggest drug out there. I think it's the most addictive thing ever. Because if anybody tries to not eat, there's a whole battery of things that happens to say, no, you've got to eat. Even if you know that you shouldn't do, you'll find an excuse to eat, because you are an addict, an actual addict to food. It's even more powerful than cocaine or whatever. It is a true addiction.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do you manage to give it up?
Well, first of all, with the fast, I was doing an experiment, and it was an experiment. So, there's no point in going into it and then sort of cheating, because it mucks up the experiment. So that was my that was the thing that stopped me from eating in the first place. And then I found that the habit, the feeling of needing to, just sort of dissipated, and it became a lot easier. But this idea that it's an experiment, and I don't want to mess up the experiment, was overrode my need to eat, I think.
Yeah. Well, I want to do another experiment. Obviously, the more people that do this same experiment and lead by example, the stronger it's all gonna look. I would love to do it. I would love to have the strength to do it, but so far I've not even managed 24 hours.
Well, manage 24 hours, Dan. Okay.
Yeah, that's my initial goal.
Well, do it. Just do the one 24-hour fast. Okay. Give it a week. Go back to eating a crap after that, so that that, well, after I've done my fast, I could always go back to it, and then do a 2-day fast, and then maybe a week, and see if you manage that. And don't worry if you sometimes don't worry if you cheat a bit. Yeah. If you're on a 3-day fast, and the second day you have a packet of crisps, say, yeah. Don't worry about it, because if you think about it, that packet of crisps being the only crap you eat in 3 days, you're on a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't beat yourself up about it, and because you don't beat yourself up about it, it will lessen the anxiety about it. And another tip for this, which I found when I was starting the fast, was do you like fruits, berries and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, get some berries. Get some strawberries or some cherries or something. Okay, so that if you do have this real urge to eat something, grab a few cherries, and just take the edge off it by the strong taste of those berries.
Yeah, that's good advice for sure. I'm trying to eat a lot more fruit these days. One little problem I have with the fruit, which maybe one of you can help me with, is that I have a decade or so, maybe 15 years ago now, when I was in Asia, I developed some mild allergy to, I'm not sure what it is, but I kind of came to the conclusion it was an allergy to vitamin C, because whenever I eat certain kinds of fruit, and it tends to change. It's not always the same fruit. I come out in a kind of a rash on my hands. It's like a fungal kind of rash. But yeah, whenever I start to eat more fruit, like in the last few days, I've been eating a lot of fruit. Straight away, this rash comes out on my hands.
Does it go away if you wash with the urine?
I haven't tried that, Dave. I'm embarrassed to say.
What? Daniel? Come on.
Be embarrassed. It's all of us. We all do the same thing. We'll go for medicine before we'll try the urine. It's horrible, but we do that. I do it.
No, I mean, I'm having baths in my urine.
Okay. Do you also the 3 drops under the tongue bit?
Yeah, I've not done that either.
Okay, well, allergic reactions, do that.
The whole washing thing with urine, I have no problem with, but I've not really tried to experiment with just bathing my hands when I've got this rash. I've also got the same, it's a very similar kind of fungus on my feet that I've had for maybe 20 years. It comes and goes a little bit, but I've got it more often than I have not. When I started doing the distilled liquids and I was keeping up a high volume, then the fungus completely disappeared off my hands and my feet. For months, I virtually had no sign of it. In the last 2 weeks, a good friend of mine came to visit from Scotland, and I was drinking a lot of beer and eating a lot of junk food. And since he's been here, I've really been slack with the amount of volume of distilled liquids. And straight away, these funguses come back again. Now my feet are bad. I've got it on my hands again a little bit. So I definitely noticed the benefits of drinking the distilled liquids. As soon as I stop, then I start to get sick. As soon as I stop, I start to get a cold. Or as soon as I stop, I start to get aches and pains.
Is it as soon as you stop, or as soon as you start eating crap again? And
yeah, well, yes, the two kind of go hand in hand. It's as soon as I stop, I think, is the main thing. As soon as I stop drinking the distilled liquids and flushing my body out of all the toxins, then it comes back again. Because I've never improved my diet completely. From the start, I've been looping my own urine at times, not all the time, but at times, and drinking high volumes of distilled water. But I've always been eating crap. But
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying constantly.
Not to cut you guys off, but I just wanted to let you know that we only have about 5 more minutes, and I do want to just make a station identification break with We Roar WS, just to thank April and everybody over there for the simulcast. So we can continue now.
I was just going. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'm going to have to mute. So sorry.
Okay. Chrissy and I can talk.
Yeah. and you know, it's kind of ironic that you and I got to talk today because we're both in the same boat.
Yeah.
The food, and I know, like, the white breads and all that other stuff, it's just horror. It's not even worth eating, but for some reason we have it in our mind that it's something delicious. And I also wanted to say, when you have that allergic reaction, and I know Andrew taught me this, that immediately when you go to the bathroom, when you pee, to drink that or put it under your tongue, however you want to do it, because your glands excrete some kind of medicine that your body can use to counter any allergic anaphylactic shock reactions that you have to, you know, whatever you might be allergic to. So just keep that in mind the next time that, you know, immediately as soon as you go to the bathroom, you know, get that in you.
It's lymph nodes under the tongue. You're instructing what's wrong with your body, and the lymph nodes now can devise a strategy against it.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing for sure. One thing that I noticed when I was drinking, when I was looping my urine or drinking a high volume of urine and distilled waters, I never experienced this fungus. Even though I was still drinking and eating the same crap that I knew I shouldn't be, it was flushing this stuff from my system straight away. And so these problems never arose. Even though I was eating a lot of fruit, a few months ago I was eating a lot of fruit, I never experienced this rash on my hands like I am now. And now that I'm not drinking a high volume at all, I'm experiencing it straight away.
Well, I've got an explanation for that, and that comes out of the Man's Higher Consciousness book. It says that when you start to become clean, yeah, you know, you've got rid of most of the toxins out of your body, you become more susceptible to them, because you know, what we call immunity to something is the body depressing its natural functions to fight. So your body no longer tries to resist the whatever you're putting in it that's harmful, and we call that immunity, because you're not having the symptoms anymore. It's just the body adapting to it, because it says, well, I guess that put this person's wanting to eat crap now, so I'll just adapt to it rather than try and fight it off. So it could be a response to you actually becoming cleaner, and
Yeah,
you've got to start cutting out the crap.
Yeah, for sure. I'm well aware of this. I'm working on it.
And you will do it, and as it becomes more important to you, as you realize that the things that you're eating don't satisfy and don't in any way add to any nutritional purpose, that, you know, it becomes easier. You know, I'm really limited even in the things that I like, but honestly, the last month I ate everything. They were calling me the human vacuum. I was eating lamb chops. I don't even eat that kind of stuff. I was eating chicken, which I'm like so averse to, because I don't want the hormones, and I was eating everything. Anything they put in front of me, I was eating it. And I was eating till the plate was empty. So I completely understand what you're talking about. So I just, we're off the air on We Roar. So we can go a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to really have to skedaddle because I have a commitment at 10:30, and it's going to take me a few minutes to get together and get over there. So any last words before we sign off here?
Not really. And no, it's great to talk with you guys. I look forward to talking with you more on the distillery or Skype, whatever. It's been great to become part of this thing. It's just given me an enormous amount of strength.
Absolutely, and I'll look forward to chatting with you on the distillery as well. And maybe next time, if you and I want to do an interview, that we could have Deborah come and join us as well. Then, we could share, our experiences. And I want to thank Dave, allegedly, for jumping in and helping me hold the fort down, and so we could get to speak with you, Daniel. It's been an amazing conversation.
I'm so sorry about that. It's very out of character for me to let
don't
people
even
down.
worry. It worked out the way it was supposed to, and everything happens the way it's supposed to.
There you go. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you both. It's great talking to you both.
Yeah.
And thank you, gentlemen, and have a wonderful everyday. And thank you at awakeradio.co.uk for this opportunity to share some wonderful information. And we will be back again next week on Alchemical Connections with Chrissy McMahon. Love you guys.